Hey everyone! Welcome to episode 6 of the Exploration series. In this series, we pick a familiar favorite and explore some different versions of it from around the world. I'm Amy, and in this episode, we are heading to Mexico for a real Mexican pizza, a Tlayuda. The Tlayuda is a historic food that originated in Oaxaca in pre-Columbian times, which makes it quite possibly the oldest pizza we've explored. Even the name, Tlayuda, is derived from the Nahuatl word tlauli, meaning shelled corn, and the suffix uda, which denotes abundance, so abundant shelled corn. Specifically, this is referencing the unique corn tortilla that makes up the crust of this pizza, which is how the dish gets its name. So, let's get to making this, because I have been so excited for this one. To start, we're going to cook up our chorizo, which is just one of several meats that could traditionally be served on a tlayuda. Other common meats include tasajo, a thinly sliced beef, or cecina, a marinated pork. We're using a pork chorizo I got from a carniceria or butcher shop close to my home. In a hot pan, add 8 ounces of chorizo, and I'm using more to use for other yumminess. We're going to break this apart and let it cook down for a moment, stirring and continuing to break it down so it doesn't have any big chunks. While that chorizo is cooking, let's get started on our namesake, the Tlayuda. To a large bowl, add 2 cups of white corn flour or masa, and I'm using maseca, and 2 cups of finely ground white cornmeal, and I'm using pan. To this, add 3 cups of water to start. I'm saying to start because we are going to add more water to this later, but for now we only want the 3 cups. Now we're going to use our clean hands to work the water into the corn flour and the cornmeal until it's completely incorporated, and then cover this and set it to the side for at least 10 minutes because we need to let the corn flour hydrate. This is a crucial step because corn flour and cornmeal do not have gluten like wheat flour does to hold it together, and we need to give it time to fully absorb the water so it becomes soft and pliable, which is going to prevent crumbling when we make our tortillas. Now back to our chorizo, and this is looking really good. Cooking chorizo can take anywhere from 7 to about 15 minutes depending on the fat content, and this has been cooking for maybe about 10 minutes. You can see here how it's nicely separated, almost all the fat is gone, and look at that beautiful browning. The color here is perfect, and I'm loving this texture, so we're going to remove this from the heat and put this chorizo in a bowl to the side. Next is our refried beans, and after this, I am just never going to buy canned refried beans again. To a blender, we're adding 1 15-ounce can of black beans, not strained, we want the liquid. Add 1 clove of garlic, a good pinch of salt, and then blend this until you're happy with the consistency. You don't need a full puree, just 15 to 20 seconds should be perfect. Now to the stove. Put 2 tablespoons of lard, lard, in a pan, and heat that up over medium heat until it is nice and hot and almost smoking, like really hot. Then pour in the beans, but be really careful and do it slowly and watch for any splattering. Now stir this around with a spatula. The goal here is to get this lard completely incorporated into the beans and not just kind of hanging around the edge of the pan there. Once all that fat is stirred into the beans, turn the heat down to low and simmer this so the beans reduce. No matter what, it's not going to look overly thick since it's so hot, but this will thicken up a ton as the beans cool. I simmered these for about 5 minutes, and the end consistency ended up perfect. It was nice and thick and smooth, but it wasn't a bean brick. Our chorizo and beans are done, so now it's time to cook our tlayudas. We're gonna again knead this around the bowl with clean hands, and we need to continue to add water by tablespoon until we get this dough to a really fresh Play-Doh consistency. A good way to test this is to make a ball of dough and press it into a patty with your hands. If the edges crack and the dough breaks when you try and bend it a little, then it needs more water. So add another tablespoon and just keep working that in. The dough's ready when you can make a patty and you have very minimal cracking on the edges. When the dough's ready, turn it out onto a work surface and cut it into 8 roughly equal pieces. Make each of these pieces into a ball, and they don't have to be exact, just roughly the same, and then just put them all back in the bowl. And now we're going to roll these out. And let me tell you, this part was a labor of love and patience. I've made wheat flour tortillas many, many times, but corn tortillas are a very different animal. I also don't have a tortilla press, so I was a little behind the 8 ball from the start. But a hint, if you're struggling and the dough is breaking, you can just plop everything back in the bowl, add some more water, work it in, make dough balls, and try again. Working with corn flour is in some ways very challenging, like rolling it out and getting the right dough consistency, but in other ways, it's also very forgiving, like being able to just mush it all back together and just add more flour or water if you need to. I ended up sandwiching the dough between 2 parchment paper sheets and pressing the dough into a round with a heavy pan. Then I used a rolling pin to gently nudge the dough into a larger tortilla shape until I was happy with the size. After that, I cooked them on a cast iron pan until each side was browned and almost lightly charred. And then we had 8 Tlayudas ready for topping. Okay, now let's whip up some salsa. Salsa is so easy to make and it tastes so much more fresh and flavorful when you start with fresh ingredients instead of buying a pre-made bottle. So here we go. Start with a dried ancho chili. Cut off the stem and tap the seeds out, then submerge the chili in a bowl of warm water so it hydrates, and set it to the side while we work on our other ingredients. Grab a medium white onion, and we're gonna need 1/4 of this cut into 2 wedges. Next is 1 serrano pepper, although you could add more than 1 if you want really spicy salsa. Cut off the stem, and if you want a lot of spice, stop there. I want mild, so I am also cutting this chili pepper in half and removing the seeds. Last, peel 2 garlic cloves and set those to the side. We're going back to our cast iron and we want this to be nice and hot. When it's hot, add the serrano, the onion, and 6 whole Roma tomatoes to the pan. We're gonna cook these dry, just like this, until the skins of the pepper and tomatoes brown and blister, and the onion gets soft and a bit charred. This can take upwards of 10 to maybe even 15 minutes, depending on the heat of your pan. So just keep turning them and turning them until they all get nice and blistery. When they're done, pull them off the heat and we're gonna move to our blender. Add 1 tablespoon of avocado oil to the blender, a good sized pinch of salt, our 2 garlic cloves, and all of the vegetables we blistered on the stove. You can see here I quartered up the tomatoes just to make things easier on the blender. Next, squeeze in the juice from 1 lime, although if you want more citrus, you could squeeze in a 2nd lime. Grab the now soft ancho chili out of the water and add that in as well. And last but not least, a handful of cilantro, stems and all. Now just blend this all up until you get your desired consistency, and there you have it. Fresh salsa, ready to eat, and this salsa has such a fresh and clean taste, it is just scrumptious. All right, now we are ready to assemble our pizza. We start with our sauce, which is the refried beans. Spread a layer of beans on the tortilla and then add some chorizo. Top that with some shredded Oaxaca cheese. Now, if you can't get Oaxaca, the closest substitute would be some shredded Monterey Jack for flavor or mozzarella for melting consistency. Now, we made 2 of these and cooked them 2 different ways as an experiment to see how the different cooking methods would affect the end. This first pizza we put in the oven, and the second we cooked on the stovetop with the cast iron pizza pan. While they both came out tasting amazing, the stovetop made a more crispy bottom, which is what we want for a Tlayuda. So I would recommend cooking these on the stovetop in a cast iron or stainless steel pan for about 5 to 8 minutes, or until the tortilla gets nice and crispy and the cheese gets all melty. When the cooked part of the dish is finished, we are ready for our fresh ingredients. We're gonna start with some shredded green cabbage. You can buy pre-shredded stuff or get a whole cabbage and just slice some really thin like this. Add some thin sliced radishes on there, sprinkle some diced white onion, drizzle some of our amazing fresh salsa on there for some great flavor and a little spicy kick, and definitely make sure to add either sliced or diced avocado on there too. Last, sprinkle some fresh chopped cilantro and this pizza is ready to eat. And here we have the iconic, historic, quintessential Mexican pizza, the Oaxacan Tlayuda. This is like the superfood of pizzas. It is so fresh and light. It has the perfect amount of heat. The crunch of the tortilla and the radish, the creamy avocado and the beans that just punch a flavor from the chorizo and the salsa, and beneath it all, that sweet, earthy, almost nutty flavor of corn. A flavor that has been the backbone of Mesoamerican native food, a cornerstone of diet, culture, even spiritual belief for over 9,000 years. Thank you for watching Explorations Mexican Style Pizza. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment if you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned next Wednesday because we're starting a whole new exploration and you really don't want to miss what we've got going on next week. Also, come and hang out with me on Sundays for some home-cooked, cozy comfort food. And this Sunday is just going to be so much fun. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Wednesday for some more exploring. Bye!